Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Should Mason Greenwood play for Manchester United again? Should he play football again? We're going to get into that. Obviously, the news broke yesterday that Mason Greenwood's criminal charges have been dropped by the Crown Prosecution Service and the police. This was Thursday afternoon, and Thursday evening into night has been spent with many people giving their opinions on this. Very strong opinions on a very sensitive topic. They were very serious allegations against Mason Greenwood. I've done a video on the United stand because it's a Manchester United player, but a lot of people have said, can you do something on That's Football? Because there's other people who have an opinion on this. Even though Mason Greenwood's a Manchester United footballer, he's also a footballer, and many fans of many clubs have opinions on it that they can relate to. So get your comments in below. What are your thoughts? Look, I think I said on the United stand yesterday that for me, the law of the land is innocent till proven guilty in the UK. And that's what people are talking about when they say innocent till proven guilty. By law, you are innocent until you are proven guilty. However, in the public opinion, the court of public opinion, people are absolutely right to say just because you don't get found guilty of something doesn't mean you didn't do it. There are people who do speeding and get off on technicalities because the equipment used by the police was found to be faulty. You could have been doing 100 miles an hour. You won't get done. So let's live in the real world. There is innocent till proven guilty in law, and that is what's happened here. In the eyes of the law, there is no crime, therefore somebody is innocent. But in the court of real, common sense or public opinion or whatever you want to call it, people do things and don't get found guilty for it for a variety of reasons. So I think that's very important to clarify at the start, because lots of people getting very frustrated and angry saying just because you don't get done in court doesn't mean you didn't do it. And you've got lots of people saying he's innocent, he didn't get found. There's a massive grey area in between those two statements. Look, I reacted to this yesterday, got clipped up on stuff because we were talking for 45 minutes. We've got a community of United fans who are split, frustrated, upset. And we were talking about hypotheticals about what could happen here, there and everywhere. And I personally said I was going to take a bit of time on this to think about what I think, because I have some very strong opinions on this that I don't think are fair to put out publicly. However, I do agree that people have to have an opinion on this at some point. You can't just... that there are certain ex-players of United, etc., who I think have to come out and make a statement on it at some point, and the media do. And to be fair, many good journalists have already said their bit. Both ways we've had statements, and I think those things do have to happen because it's such a big thing that you can't really not have an opinion on it. Because by not having an opinion, I think you're almost brushing it under the carpet. I almost respect people who have an opinion on it, but I do also agree that you've got to take time on it. The thing I can't move past, and I think the thing I can't move past that people keep messaging me about is the audio clip. The audio clip and the pictures that were put out when this first broke a year ago. That is the issue for a lot of people, because you hear it, it's traumatic. You see it, it's traumatic. And, the thing is, we will probably find out more about this situation as time develops, because it's no longer a criminal case. So I imagine there'll be leaks to journalists and stories and friends of this person says this and that and the other. But the interesting thing somebody said to me was that in the statements that's been put out by clubs, the player themselves and everything like that, it's all about moving on and rebuilding. There's nothing about I'm happy that my innocence has been proven or anything like that, because obviously that's not what's happened. It's just the case has been dropped, so it leaves that bit of grey area. But I think that whether the player should play football again, I think that is the question. And the first thing I would say here is he will play football again. Be very surprised if he doesn't play football again, because while Manchester United may make a moral stand and say no, we don't want you to play for Manchester United, and maybe other Premier League clubs do that, maybe all Premier League clubs do that, maybe all La Liga clubs do that, there will be a club somewhere. I would argue there'll be a club in England, to be honest with you, because the minute you start talking about morals in football is the minute you've just lost the argument. If you think there is a football club out there that wouldn't take Mason Greenwood, you're a fool. I mean, it only takes a football club to be in a relegation battle and the opportunity to come to maybe buy a goal scorer that can keep them up. And morals of those clubs will go out the window. And I'd argue morals out of a lot of those fans would go out the window. I mean, look, there are United fans who desperately want the player back as well. So if people want him back in this situation, imagine what it'll be like in a few months' time and you're in a relegation battle. So there will be a club who takes him back. He will play football again. Now, there's an argue about second chances, rehabilitation, and anyway, which I'm pretty much pro for anyway, that there should always be a path back. But, so I do think he will play football again. From a Manchester United standpoint, I actually think that the more I think about it, the more I think that it can't happen, because you've had Manchester United supporters groups coming out against it. You've had, charities and support groups coming out against it. You've got fans coming out against it. You've got fans saying I won't support Man United again if Mason Greenwood isn't allowed to play for us, but you've got a lot of fans saying I won't support Manchester United if he does. And it's not Brexit. It's not like 51% of the vote and that's the decision. I think with something like this, if you've even got 10% of your fan base that are against it, you've got to listen to the 10%. This is not a vote, and if you lose the vote by 51% to 49%, he can play. You've got to take into account that you've got 49% people who are very, very much against it. So I think United have got a very difficult decision to make. I personally think Manchester United will be trying to find options to terminate the contract, because I think that's the most logical thing to do, so that everybody can move on. And then it's somebody else's issue to take him on and do whatever. But I think for brand Manchester United and what they've built over the last 6 months under Erik ten Hag, there's so many reasons not to not make this decision. But I don't know. That's just a prediction. My prediction is that he will end up playing football again, because, as I said, morals don't exist in football anyway, really. There always will be somebody that does it, because football's big business. And if you can bring a player in that can score goals for you, then morals will go out the window for somebody. The big thing is, do you want the morals to go out the window for your club? And I don't think they will for Manchester United. So as much as rival fans are saying United fans want him back, I think there's a lot of Man United fans that don't. And personally, as a Manchester United fan, as I've said, for me, it's just it's a shocking story. It caught a lot of people on the hop yesterday, and I think some of us just wanted to take a little bit of time to think it through and go through it. And I think, as many people were saying yesterday, the issue for them is that they just can't move past the stuff that came out when it happened. It leaves too much doubt in your mind. It's not saying that there's not explanations for that or whatever, but I just think it's the fact that you listen to it, you see it, and you go, I'm not comfortable to assume that none of that's real, even if people are saying that it's not real. I mean, and I don't think anybody is, to be fair, but I think people, you've got your own moral compass on this, and at the end of the day, you make a decision. That's what you do. I'm not going to tell you you're right or wrong, because that's not my place to do. It's nobody's place to do it. People have strong opinions on both sides. People will have strong opinions in the chat. I think in many ways the reason it's such a hot topic in the sense of sensitivity is because you could relate it to your club, that here was a player, and look, we have to talk about the football side of it. Here was a player that I described as a generational talent. He was scoring so many goals, fantastic player. And that just all gets shoved in the bin the minute that story came out. It was like, I couldn't give a toss if he's a generational talent. You can't do those sort of things. But it makes people think about their clubs. It makes them think about players they like and go, what if, how would I react to that? And people are different. People have different thoughts and different opinions, and that's what it's all about. And I'm not saying you have to respect those different opinions, but I think you do have to respect the fact that this is a ridiculously sensitive topic, and it's very, very serious conversations that we're having. And I'm sure, sadly, it won't be the last time in football it happens. My prediction is, for what it's worth, I think he will end up playing football again. I don't think it will be for Manchester United, and I think then it becomes somebody else's conversation to resolve, doesn't it? Which I'm sure everybody will still have an opinion on, because there's non-Man United fans having an opinion on this, quite rightly. But look, I did want to just drop a video out there, because a lot of people said, you can get your comments in below. I think the vast majority of people outside Manchester United don't think he should play again. And I think within Manchester United, there is a big divide on what should happen. Manchester United have got to tread very, very carefully, because, as I said, it's not Brexit. It's not a 50-50 vote and you go one way or the other. I think if you've got more than 10% of your fan base that really don't want it to happen, you've really got to think about that and how you conduct yourself as a football club. And I think that's what they will do. But time will tell. We'll see. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We have got Everton against Arsenal tomorrow lunchtime. I'll speak to you on that. Take care.